And then the player comes in and it's like just jumping around all over the place. And takes that beautiful moment and just destroys it. Meleeing every
Crouch up.
Obviously, Laura, we mentioned earlier you're a gamer. Are you guys all gamers? Steve, I obviously know your gaming history better than...
Yeah, my gaming history is marked. I remember the very first time I ever made an appearance on behalf of Master Chief. When I went down, was at a store opening in Florida, and I said I have two conditions. I do not dress up as the character, and I don't play the game. Fine. Well, we get down there, and of course, unbeknownst to me, they had set up a contest where the winner would play me in Halo.
Yeah.
And I said I don't play the game. They said it's all right. We've rigged it. They put it on the what they call the Juggernaut setting, so you can't lose. Just keep your hands on the controls, keep hitting buttons. And you will be fine. Well, an 11-year-old girl won the contest. I lasted 15 seconds. I'm not kidding.
With all your cheats in
it. with all the cheats in place, I lasted 15 seconds.
Wow.
You have never been more humiliated than when an 11-year-old girl gives you one of these. Really?
Really?
Yeah.
You're just spinning in a circle.
Yeah.
Ike, you must have been a gamer as a kid, right? Like,
I actually wasn't. My parents. I'm Nigerian, and in our culture, education is everything. And so video games were not part of that plan. So it wasn't until I was probably, I think I was 12 or 13, when my Uncle Austin came to visit, and he bought us our first Super Nintendo, and the world opened up. It was amazing, and I've been hooked ever since. The camaraderie of playing with my siblings, and then on to college with my buddies. I loved it.
This is gonna sound a little bit weird, but Darren, your actual bio sounds more like a game character bio than the game characters. Can you just tell these guys, at least at the table, what you did before all this?
Yeah, I was in the Army doing intel work, and then I got recruited by the Department of Defense to work on a joint task force doing counter intel as an agent. And I started training for undercover work, and I actually started taking an acting class that was told would help with believability in undercover work, and then moved to LA and started acting.
So you say.
Wow. 2 years ago, you're like, I was in the Army.
know.
That was
Why
it.
do I not know this?
Are you a spy now? You're a spy.
He
He
sounds
is Lasky.
Tom, we can stop this.
I'll make arrangements.
These guys have a lot of work under their belt, but you guys, between you, have been in literally every single video game that ever shipped, right? And you've been in you've been in Halo 3 times alone as three separate characters. So list off the games you've been in, because it's a ton.
I started as Blood Rain in Blood Rain. I don't know. You have a list. Let me see. That helps me. BioShock, Dragon Age.
Yeah.
Street Fighter.
Who were you in Street Fighter?
Chun-Li.
Chun-Li and Guile.
Yes.
I was Guile. But we're both awful at the
Terrible
game.
at the
Really,
game.
we just look like people jumping into each other. That's all it is. And then missing, and then going back.
Do you guys have any favorite VO performers that you think of?
Oh, there's a lot.
So many.
There's so many of them. I think actually, for me, I just finished playing The Last of Us, and Troy Baker in The Last of Us.
Yeah.
I was blown away. But I grew up on Mark Hamill. His Joker, I feel like, sets a bar that has still never been.
And we have him in Hunt the Truth. I almost gleeked out on the spot when I found out that he wanted to do it. In fact, so. What about you, Darren? Any?
Tudyk's a great one. I was just talking about him, and I see a lot of cartoons now because I have 3 kids. I had 3 kids between Halo 4 and 5. Which is a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, it's impressive.
I had one right almost during 4, right at the end of 4, I had 1, and then just had twins. So we see a lot of cartoons.
Yeah.
A lot of Travis too. I hear a lot of Travis in cartoons.
That's right. A lot of Sophia at your house. That's right, yeah.
Steve, any vocal
Well,
performances
with of course everybody at this table.
Well, naturally.
Needless to say.
Except me.
And I will say I'm a big fan, in addition to being a friend, I'm a big fan of Jen Taylor. I think she does just a fabulous
super
job,
talented.
and it was so much fun to work with her and watch her work. But Keith David, I met Keith for the first time this year, and was a total geek. I was a total, I am not worthy. I mean, I just think he's just a giant of a voice talent and a great actor, and it was and as it turns out, a heck of a nice guy. But it was fun to meet him. It was fun to be a fan, in that regard.
The spies announce themselves now, Agent Locke.
I'm a Spartan now, sir.
I know who you are.
To take it back old school for me, Chris Sabat is a fantastic actor in the anime world.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite shows in college, when I started to realize that you could even perform voiceover as a career for an actor, was Dragon Ball Z, that was playing on Toonami back in the Cartoon Network days. And I was a fan of Dragon Ball Z, and I finally got into Funimation, and I come in and there's this bald dude in there with a little handsome guy. handsome flavor saver, and he's got this crazy deep voice, very EK deep voice, and he's like, "Hey man, I'm Chris Sabat." I was like, "Oh man, you play Vegeta in Dragon Ball Z? That's amazing." He goes, "Well, Vegeta, Piccolo, Mr. Popo," and Yamcha starts listing like 9 to 12 different characters. I'm like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
And it was the first time he's like, "Man, you just pretend." I'm like,
what? And that's like the modern version of Mel Blanc. Like when you read the IMDb for Mel, you're just like, basically every cartoon I ever liked when I was a child.
Right.
He was and just doing crazy stuff with his voice, not just performances, but like vocal flexibility. What are your guys' tricks for
Bourbon.
works well.
That's not the first time I've heard you answer that.
today? This very
A
afternoon.
lot of studios don't let us use that trick enough.
So weird.
I think I do something that probably drives my wife crazy, which is that I talk to myself near constantly. Like, I'll hear something that catches my ear, and then I'll go around for the next hour trying it in different ways, and trying this, and so I'm going, well, mimicking.
Yeah.
That and the physicality that I imagine as I stomp around my house doing this. And my wife is like,
Okay.
yeah.
Doing it again.
Yeah.
EK's mentally ill.
I married him for a reason.
That
We get people that ask a lot, like, how do I get into voiceover? And mimicking, like you said, is so huge, and that's pretty much the only way to learn it is either you have a really great ear and you'll pick it up really quick just by listening to it repetitively, or hiring a voice coach and having to really drill it. But that mimicking ability is everything.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Thanks, Kelly. Everyone ready?
Affirmative.
You good?
Blue team, fall out.
What is the weirdest line you've ever had to say and you know what it is? There must be one where
yeah.
you're like,
I have it instantly. Anybody else?
I do.
I don't think it's.
Mine was in a series where I said, "Feel my wind."
Oh yeah, that was
I literally looked at the driver's like, "This can't be the line. This can't be the line." He's like, "Just say it, man."
I was in that series with him. My response to that was,
is it anime?
Yeah.
Or some kind of
"I can feel it.
I can feel your wind.
I can feel your wind." That was one of my lines.
Brilliant. Just
So I got this audition to do Shaq, right? And I can't do Shaq. I can't. My Shaq is terrible. But they were like, do it anyway. And I was like, all right. So my Shaq sounds like this. That's what it sounds like.
I knew it was going to be good.
I like it. I
Sounds
like it.
terrible. And so I got it, and I was like, oh, no. Why did you pick me? Now I have to do it. It was for, do you remember when he was doing Icy Hot?
yes.
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 Still is.
And so, yeah.
I remember Shaq Fu. I go all the way back.
So I spent a lot of time talking about rubbing myself and touching myself and putting it in the right place. It was like half an hour of that before we actually got to the 3 lines. It was terrible.
Yeah, so
I don't want you to talk in your normal voice.
That's how you should answer the phone when Comcast.
Exactly. Wait a minute.
I forget the exact line I said, but I remember I was on fire and I was yelling at somebody who lit me on fire in a game.
On fire is always good.
Yeah.
It's the most panic thing you could do.
Yeah.
You're on fire while being stabbed in the back and your leg's broken. Right. You know. Okay, that was good. Now, give me.
You were being electrocuted, and then somebody throws a hatchet and takes your head off.
The actual game was you are set on fire, and then the alien mandibles grab you, pick you up, shake you, and then snap you in half.
Yeah.
I was like, can I take a picture of that? I just snapped it. I wait till the game comes out. Like,
So I know you guys, obviously the most important thing in your whole career is Halo 5. Steve, your situation is interesting because you just retired. Congratulations.
Yes, I did. Thank you.
But what is your experience playing the Master Chief been like, and what has it meant to you?
It's been an incredible journey, one that I could not have possibly imagined the day that I walked into the studio in 2000 to record Halo Combat Evolved. To say it's been a life-changing experience would be a understatement. And to grow with this character and become a part of him in a way, and quite frankly, it's been an honor that as he's evolved and as the game has evolved and Master Chief has evolved, to be able to grow with this character. And you know, you'd like to think that there's a little bit of yourself in these characters, especially when you get to play a recurring role. And I've often said it's the fulfillment of a childhood fantasy. I mean, who among us didn't sort of fantasize, you know, that you were Superman or you were Batman or you were Spider-Man when you were a kid, and then yay, these many years later, that you actually get to have a part in a role of an iconic character. It's been life-changing, and as I said, an honor to be a part of it.
You guys have 14 years to catch up.
It goes by like that.
So I've had a fantastic time today. I hope you guys have enjoyed it as much as I have. And I just wanted to say thank you again to our amazing special guests who've made our game more special with their involvement. Ike Amati, new to the series, but already an old friend and someone you guys are going to get to know and love. We have Darren O'Hare, always a joy, the best captain this side of Kirk, I think. The incomparable Steve Dans, the Master Chief, and the voice of our game. And the voice of our universe, to Laura Bailey, who is one of the most talented voice actresses in the business and absolutely an integral part of our universe going forward, and to Travis, who is the tallest person at the table, but not necessarily with the deepest voice. So I think there's going to have to be a voice off. I just want to say thanks to you guys again for your passion, your energy, and everything that you've committed to this game and made it what we think is the best Halo ever, and we couldn't have done it without you. So thank you.
Can't wait. Yeah.
Can't wait to play.
Play the greatest games lineup in Xbox history.